What is up, weather enthusiasts? I'm your host, Pat's Path Predictor. Let's get right into the weather. Alright, so here's the situation we have for you, ladies and gentlemen. We have a winter storm that is just starting in parts of Arkansas, Louisiana, and Oklahoma. We also have extreme Arctic air from Washington all the way to New York, and it is expected to get even worse over the next couple of days. And we're also looking at another potential winter storm impacting the mid-Atlantic. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into all of this as we continue to get all of this. But before we go ahead and do that, we need to go over some National Weather Service advisories and warnings. We have wind chill warnings all the way from the U.S.-Canadian border down to near Texas and even into the Texas Panhandle over here. We're going to go ahead and start over there since they are under a very extreme wind chill warning near Amarillo. Right here's the wind chill warning in effect right here. Dangerously cold wind chills as low as 20 below zero, which for Amarillo, you're probably going, oh, Patrick, shouldn't this be a winter weather advisory or a wind chill advisory? It's not really that cold cold where we're at. Well, in the Midwest, this would be considered a wind chill advisory. Where this is, keep in mind, is down in the Texas Panhandle, where they don't typically see this kind of cold right here. They do see cold that gets down to like 20 degrees above freezing, above zero easily. But the problem is just dangerously cold wind chills right here. Frostbite and hypothermia could happen within 30 minutes, and they're not really prepared or kind of accustomed to all the cold temperatures that you might see maybe in the Great Plains or the Midwest right here. And speaking of which, we're going to go ahead and go to Kansas City for our wind chill warning, because the Chiefs and the Dolphins, they played in this. I don't know how they did, and I don't know how none of them got frostbite from what I understand, but either way, wind chills as low as 40 below zero for the wind chill warning that remains in effect until noon Tuesday for portions of the east, central, and northeast Kansas, and central, northeast, northwest, and south central Missouri. Dangerously cold wind chills could cause frostbite and expose as little as 10 minutes. I would strongly advise, if you are in a wind chill warning, to stay inside as much as you can today. Don't travel. And if you do travel, just park as close as you can to the place that you're going into, and just stay as warm as you guys possibly can. Now we're going to go ahead and go over to the Quad Cities to look at their wind chill warning, because a lot of this is pretty crazy. Wind chills as low as 35 below, and it remains into effect until Tuesday, and a winter weather advisory will expire at noon. It already did, so we don't have to worry about that. But it's still pretty crazy what we're looking at. And we have wind chill advisories all the way to Pennsylvania over here. I actually want to go ahead and go to Cleveland and see what their winter wind chill advisory is over here. Wind chills are up to 15 to 20 below zero at this point for north central, northeast, and northwest Ohio until noon Monday. So that's what we have going on. But another thing we have going on over here is a bunch of winter storm warnings from Texas all the way to Virginia over here that I also want to briefly cover. I know I've been covering this for like the last 3 minutes of all the warnings and everything, but I just want to get everything out there and kind of look at all this and then get to the modeling in the second half of the video. So I do apologize for that. But here's what we have going on. This is the winter storm warning in effect for much of the area right here, and at least for areas in Texas over here. This is Texarkana right here. Over here, we're going to go ahead and show you the winter storm warning. Heavy mixed precipitation, snow accumulations between 1 and 2 inches, sleet accumulations of around 1/2 of an inch, and ice accumulations up to 1/10 of an inch or less. And if you're probably tuning in, you're probably wondering, shouldn't this constitute a winter weather advisory, Patrick? Because it's only 2 inches of snow. 2 inches of snow in that part of Texas and that part of Arkansas is a lot. They don't know how to, no offense, but they don't know how to drive and all that stuff. Like an inch of snow for them is enough to cause a lot of chaos, especially in Texas and this part of Arkansas over there. Now, speaking of which, we're going to go ahead and go to Little Rock and see what the winter storm warning in effect is for over there. I know it's more of a snow-based winter storm warning from the last time I looked and all that, but at the same time, we'll still take a look at it right here. There's also a wind chill advisory in effect. Winter storm warning, 2 to 4 inches, wind chill as low as 15 below zero. For large portions of central and southern Arkansas. This is in effect until 6 p.m. tomorrow, so we're going to have to continue to keep an eye on it. But the entire state of Tennessee right here is under a winter storm warning, and it's for mainly mixed precipitation and I think 3 to 6 inches of snow in some areas. Yeah, 3 to 6 inches of snow for most locations. Locally, higher amounts of up to 8 inches possible in some parts of some spots south of Interstate 40 and across the plateau. For the far northwest counties of Middle Tennessee are expected to have the lowest amounts. This is for all of Middle Tennessee right there, and I want to see what it's looking like in the Appalachians. Over here, we're going to go ahead and go to near Knoxville over here to show you the winter storm warning in effect for over here. 3 to 6 inches, locally higher amounts possible, and this is in effect until from midnight tonight until 7 a.m. From midnight Monday until 7 a.m. Tuesday, so midnight tonight until 7 a.m. Tuesday over there. And then we have winter weather advisories as far north over here as near as northern Virginia over here. So we're going to have to pay attention to this as we continue to get more data right there. Now, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and kind of show you the modeling of what we're looking at. We're going to start with the Arctic. We're going to go ahead and start with the Arctic air and just spend the next 45 seconds to a minute talking about this. And the Arctic air, as you can see right here, continues to get colder and colder across much of the United States. Tomorrow and Tuesday morning are going to be the coldest days for this Arctic blast moving through. And this is what we have at pretty much midnight tonight. We're looking at temperatures as far south as Amarillo down to 3 or 2 degrees. Some areas around there in the negatives. And DFW, we're looking at 19, 20 degrees. And it continues to just spread throughout the Midwest. In fact, in parts of the Midwest, we get as cold as 13 below zero if the GEM GDPS is correct. They tend to exaggerate the cold temperatures a little bit. For example, if we go ahead and show you the GFS right here, it's a little bit warmer than that, but still it's very brutal for over 100 million Americans, and especially to those down the deep south who are not accustomed to these temperatures right there. And then it kind of starts to die off, and the pattern starts to change a little bit, and the Arctic blast should be over by the end of this week for a lot of you guys over there. But one thing I am still paying attention to now is that winter storm and another winter storm that's going to be coming in the next few days or so. So here's the situation that we have going on. This is the GFS model right here. We're going to go ahead and show you the latest as of right now. The GFS model has this thing really moving through Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. Mississippi and Alabama, in some areas, I believe, are under a winter storm warning, which that is quite crazy if you think about it, because it's someone reminded me in the comments in yesterday's video that they got that the 2021 storm impacted you guys pretty badly down there, the February 2021 storm. So I do apologize for that, but this was before Pat's Path Predictor even started. Doesn't mean it doesn't count, but thank you for correcting me in the comments down below. But anyway, back to the video right here. What we have going on is this storm just kind of moving through Tennessee, and according to the GFS, it kind of fizzles out a little bit before the low pressure reinvigorates and really brings a lot of snowfall to Tennessee, Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, and this continues into Tuesday right here as this low pressure system starts to organize, where you could definitely see some snow in Baltimore, Philadelphia, DC, and maybe parts of Long Island in New York before, and then potentially into Boston before the next storm comes. What are we looking at for total snow accumulations? Well, for a lot of you guys in Arkansas, you're pretty much almost done with the snow accumulating part of it. But for Tennessee, and especially the mountainous areas, according to the GFS, we're looking at anywhere from 8 to 10 inches of snow, especially in the Appalachian region. If we go ahead and show you the European model right here, it's a similar situation, except it has a lot more snow falling down here in Mississippi as this storm continues to move through. We're looking at potentially up to 6 inches of snow in parts of northern Mississippi, which is pretty crazy if you think about it right there. GEM GDPS, as you can see right here, we can't, unfortunately, really zoom in that much. It gets us down to Florida, but that's about it. But the GEM GDPS wants a foot of snow in much of the Appalachian areas and potentially up to 8 inches of snow across parts of Arkansas and Mississippi over here. So either way, it's looking like it's going to be a very crazy system that's going to be moving through. But that's not the only thing we're looking at, because a few days later, on the 18th and the 19th, we're looking at potentially another system moving through across much of Arkansas, through much of Georgia and the Carolinas, before bringing snowfall to Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, and then merging to bring snowfall to Baltimore, to D.C., to Philadelphia, to New York City, and all those areas over there as the GEM GDPS kind of has this fizzling out. And certain models have different situations right here. For example, the GFS has this thing as has a full-blown nor'easter impacting much of New England and the Mid-Atlantic right here, brings some really heavy snow to Boston and New York City over there. The GEM GDPS has something a lot more minor and kind of more of a merger system and not really as strong. So there is still some disagreement in the models. I figured I'd highlight these just so that way you guys could get an understanding of what we're looking at. If we go ahead and show you the snow accumulations from all this, the GEM GDPS still brings quite a lot of snowfall to a lot of you guys. For example, we're looking at Washington, D.C. from both systems. This is the second system right here. The first system gives you a good 2 to 3 inches. The second one gives you an extra 2 over there, whereas parts of Philadelphia, first system brings a similar amount, but then the second one brings 3 to 6 over there. Same with New York City, and then the areas in New England right here could potentially see snowfalls as really high from the first system right there. They don't get impacted by the second system according to the GEM GDPS, so we got to keep that in mind. But meanwhile, the European over here really has Boston over here getting impacted by a lot of snowfall over here. If we go ahead and zoom in on this right here, Boston gets up to 8 inches of snow. The areas around Boston up to 10. New York City, pretty much 6 inches of snow over here. The area around Baltimore, 4 to 6 inches. Philadelphia over here gets 7 inches of snow. So we're going to have to pay attention to this. And the GFS, though, is definitely one of those systems that is pretty crazy, to say at the very least. If we go ahead and show you the 12Z GFS right here, it has Philadelphia getting pretty much a foot of snow. The first system only brings it about 2 inches of snow. The second one is what really carries it for much of Philadelphia, much of Pennsylvania, into Willis, Barks, Scranton area, and to much of New Jersey. And New York City gets up to 10 inches of snow if this model holds right here. And then you have Boston getting 9 inches of snow. Washington, D.C. gets about 5 inches of snow. The first storm gives it 3.6, and the second one gives it about 2. So keep that in mind as we continue to look at this and as more data continues to come in. Things are, of course, subject to change throughout all of this, but one thing that is not changing for the next week is that Arctic air is going to be impacting the Midwest. So remember, stay home, stay warm, and if you have to go out, just park your car as close as you can to the building so that way you can get there and stay warm and all that stuff. We're closing the video out right here. I really hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. It helps us out, helps us make more videos like these. The goal of this channel is to get more people engaged with weather, and if you want to see the behind the scenes of this video and you want to ask us some more questions about the weather, be sure to join the Storms United Discord server. The link to that is right over there. But with that being said, have a wonderful day, guys. Stay safe.